Good morning, students. So in the previous class, we have discussed the meeting of Don Gonzalo and Donna Laura at a park in Madrid. And we have even discussed the character of Donna Laura. We found that she was a lady in her 70s, so refined in her character, comes to the park, sends her maid Petra to have a chat with her lover, the guard of the park, and then she starts feeding the birds, the pigeons, and as she was feeding the pigeons, Don Gonzalo enters the stage along with his servant, Panito, and he was so angry, he was so furious when he found out that his regular seat in the park was occupied by 3 priests. So he makes comments about them. He was wondering why couldn't they sit in the church and say their mass. And when Juanito pointed out that the bench was vacant and he could occupy the bench along with Donna Laura, he flatly refused, saying that he wanted a bench all for himself. At this, Donna Laura was so furious, so angry. As he moved out to search for other benches in the park, he scared away the birds that were feeding on Donna Laura's breadcrumbs. And a conversation happened between Donna Laura and Don Gonzalo regarding this. Laura picks up a quarrel with him, asks him why was he disturbing the birds. Later he went and searched for the seats. He could not find a seat. He came back. Laura was very happy that he was not able to find a bench for himself. And Don Gonzalo did not have any other option other than sitting on the bench, sharing the bench along with Donna Laura. He sat down. And as he sat down, again, Laura started a conversation. She started making fun of him, and he was not quite happy with what Laura was saying. He objected to that, saying they were strangers, and he did not want any sort of interference into his affairs by a strange woman. And again, he was muttering to himself, why couldn't this lady sit at home, either knitting clothes or saying her prayers? So he was complaining about each and every aspect. He complained that there were not many benches in the park for these old people to sit on sunny mornings. He again complained that they had not sprinkled enough water on the path, and as he walked, the dust had come up. So he had a series of complaints about each and everything, and Laura at a point of time wondered, why are people behaving in this way? Why do people become so angry and so fussy when they reach a particular age? And at times she has forgotten that she herself was fussy. She herself was picking up quarrel with Don Gonzalo. So he decided to read a book of poems. He collected the book from Juanito. He was about to read, and as he was about to read, again Laura made fun of his eyesight, and he tried to justify himself, saying that he was a good hunter as well, and if you need to hunt, you need to have good eyesight. He said, all the animals in my estate know about my hunting talents. Hunting requires 2 talents. One, you should have enough patience. You should wait for these animals. Second, you should have correct eyesight so that you can shoot the animals or birds, because immediately they shift their position. So their quarrels got settled when Gonzalo offered Donna Laura a pinch of snuff. So the snuff box is offered. Laura took that on one condition. If the snuff is good, I would take that. And he assured her that it was the finest of stuff. And after taking the snuff, both of them sneezed, and it was a coincidence that both of them sneezed 3 times, and that too alternately. After that, he started reading, and now, earlier they were fighting, but they had verbal combat, and now as he was about to read, he was asking her, can I read a little loudly? And Laura was all the more happy. She said, no problem at all, you will not cause any disturbance to me. You can start reading loudly. So he started reading Campermore, and Laura also appreciated those lines written by Campermore. They have a discussion, and it is where we stopped in the previous class. So today we move on to the rest of the discussion, rest of the conversation that happened between Gonzalo and Laura. So Gonzalo says, there are some beautiful poems in this book. Here, 20 years pass, he returns. So now he quotes one poem, one particular poem from that book with the title, 20 years pass, he returns. And now Laura says, you cannot imagine how it affects me to see you reading with all those glasses. So now she is all the more sympathetic towards this old man who reads with difficulty. You know, he was using two glasses, one the spectacles that he had and then a magnifying glass. He was holding the book like this, and with the help of the magnifying glass, he had adjusted so that the letters would be enlarged, and he was trying to identify those words written over there. So now earlier Laura made fun of his eyesight. Now after he offered her a pinch of snuff, she was so happy, and she feels pity, she feels sympathy towards this man. So she says, you know, it pains me to see you reading in that way. And Gonzalo, can you read without any? So he was surprised because she is speaking to him in a very sympathetic way. So she's asking, can you read without glasses? You know, I find it difficult to read without glasses. You are seeing me doing that. So can you read like that? Laura, certainly. No problem. I have very good eyesight. I can read without glasses. At your age, you are jesting. And Gonzalo is in no way ready to believe what she said, because she is also 70. Though she appeared refined, she also might be having her own problems. So he says, you are jesting. Jesting means joking. You might be joking about it. I don't believe you can read at this age without glasses. Laura, pass me the book then. Takes book, reads aloud. So then she asks for the book, and he hands over the book, and she starts reading. So these are again lines from the poem, 20 years pass, he returns. 20 years pass, he returns, and each, beholding the other, exclaims, can it be that this is he? Heavens, is it she? So this poem is a conversation between two people who meet after a period of 20 years. A man and a woman who were in love with each other, they got separated. Sometimes you find the ways of God is so strange. You might fall in love with a person, but probably for some reason the relationship is destroyed. So this poem speaks about a man and a woman who were in love with each other, but who got separated for some reasons. Now after a period of 20 years they meet. So looking at the man, the woman is wondering, can it be that this is he? See, the man I loved once was so different. He has changed a lot. Can I believe that it is the same person who stands in front of me? And then the man is wondering, he is also surprised. Heavens, my goodness, my God, is it she? Is it the same woman I loved once? So it's an exclamation that comes from both the man and the woman. You know, you change a lot over a period of years. So you can just think about the face changes, your body, you may put on weight, you may become lean at times. So your face that might have been so beautiful once may not be so beautiful as you grow old. So it's this exclamation, it's that surprise that is presented through these lines in the poem, 20 years pass, he returns. Donna Laura returns the book to Don Gonzalo. So after reading this poem, she just gives it back. You know, she just held the book in her hand, she read it and handed it over. She wanted to prove that she had got very good eyesight. She did not need glasses to read that. Gonzalo, indeed, I envy your wonderful eyesight. I really appreciate at this age you can read without glasses. You've got good eyesight. Aside, Laura, I know every word by heart. So now Laura speaks to the audience. She says, I know each and every word in that poem by heart. So, was she actually reading from the book? No. She knew the lines. She was just reciting the poem. But somewhere inside her mind, she had a feeling, I need to be a little ahead of this man in front. So she wanted to prove that she had got good eyesight, and she hid the fact that she could not read without glasses, and she read out the poem because she knew it by heart. So we audience knows that she is not so true in speaking about her eyesight. Gonzalo, I am very fond of good verses, very fond. I even composed some in my youth. So now Gonzalo says, I'm so happy to read the poems, and even I was a composer some time back, and I'm so much interested in poetry. Good ones. So Laura is asking, have you composed good poetry of all kinds? So he says, yes, I have composed poetry. Some poems that I have written are well appreciated, whereas some are not. So there are good ones as well as some average ones. I was a great friend of Espronceda, Zorilla, Becker and others. So now he speaks the names of a few poets, a few realistic as well as romantic poets of the 19th century, Spanish poets. The names are Espronceda, Zorilla and Becker. They are all 19th century poets. And then he says, I first met Zorilla in America. So this is a reference again to the colonization that Spain had. The Southern America, South American continent was a colony of Spain. So he says, I had been to America, and there I had met the famous poet Zorilla. He just wanted to impress Donna Laura with the fact that he was very much familiar with all these poets. He has understood that she also is interested in poetry. Why? Have you been in America? So she's quite surprised, because during those times sailing was so difficult and there was no aeroplane and such things by which you could go, and it was very difficult to sail. So she's asking, you had been there? Several times. The first time I went, I was only 6 years old. So he says, yes, I had traveled many times. He just wanted to tell her that he was a man with a lot of experience. See, traveling gives you a lot of experience. You must have gone with Columbus in one of his caravels. No, caravels means travels, journey. And Columbus refers to the sailor in 1400s who discovered America. So earlier she was making fun of him in a sarcastic way. She was so sarcastic about each and every word that he said. But now this gives way, she's teasing him. She just says, you might have been a little old. I think you might have traveled along with Columbus, say 400 years back. She just wants to tell him that you are quite old. Gonzalo laughing. Not quite as bad as that. I'm old, I admit. But I did not know Ferdinand and Isabella. So now Gonzalo admits that he is old. He says, see, earlier his response also was tit for tat kind. He responded so furiously, so angrily. So even though Laura tells him that he is quite old, he says that I admit that I am old. But don't think that I am as old as Ferdinand and Isabella. I did not know them at all. Now, Ferdinand is a reference to the man who circumnavigated the world for the first time, Ferdinand Magellan in 16th century. That's a reference to him. Now, Isabella is the name of the ship in which he traveled. So, Ferdinand and Isabella, Magellan in his ship Isabella went round the world for the first time in 16th century. So he says, I am quite old, but I am not as old as Magellan. They both laugh. And then they did not look at each other angrily. Instead, they are laughing. See what magic or what change has been brought by a pinch of snuff. Just because he offered a pinch of snuff, she was quite happy to have it, and that changed Laura's attitude towards this man. And again, both of them discovered their interest in poetry, especially Campamore. They read, they enjoy poems, and all the poems that they read are about love. So now Gonzalo continues. I was also a great friend of Campamore. I met him in Valencia. I'm a native of that city. Now, Valencia is a city in Spain. So he says, just as I knew Espronceda and Zorilla, I have met Campamore as well. I am a great friend of him. You know where I met him first? In the city of Valencia. And I am not from Madrid actually. I am a native of that place. You are? So now it's Laura's turn to be surprised because she seems to be familiar with that place. She's asking, are you a native of Valencia? Gonzalo, I was brought up there and there I spent my early youth. Have you ever visited that city? So now Gonzalo is telling her, I am so much familiar because I am a native of that place. I was brought up there. Do you know anything about Valencia? Have you ever gone there? Because he thinks that she is from Madrid only. Laura, yes, senor. Yes, sir. I know, I have visited that city. Not far from Valencia, there was a villa that, if still there, should retain memories of me. So now she speaks about her memories of the city Valencia. She says there was a villa, I don't know whether it is there today, but there was a villa once upon a time in Valencia. And that villa still holds the memories of me. If it is there, it will have my memories. So that is an indication that she had spent some of her years in a villa in Valencia. I spent several seasons there. It was many years ago. It was near the sea, hidden away among lemon and orange trees. They called it, let me see, what do they call it? Maricela. So here, Laura is trying to find out the memories that are hidden in her. She's trying to bring them back. She tries to recognize or she tries to remember the name of the villa where she has spent her youth. She says, I've spent several seasons there and I still remember that villa. There were a lot of orange and lemon trees. It was surrounded by an orchard. And there I had lived there. I was brought up. I spent several seasons there. And she tries to remember them. And after a bit of exercise, she got the name. She says, yes, I remember. The name of the villa is Maricela. Gonzalo startled. Maricela? So now it's the time for Gonzalo to be shocked because he never expected that she would know Valencia or she would be familiar with the city. Now here is this old woman telling him that I know Valencia, I was brought up there, I lived in a villa over there, and she could even tell the name of the villa, Maricela. Laura, Maricela, is the name familiar to you? She's trying to bring her memories. Usually childhood memories are so precious to us and they come to us definitely when we meet a person whom we were acquainted with in our childhood. So she's just trying to bring her memories back. She says, yes, do you know that villa? You are also a native of Valencia, right? Have you heard of Maricela? Yes, very familiar. If my memory serves me right, for we forget as we grow old. There lived in that villa the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, and I assure you, I have seen many. So now, Gonzalo says, yes, I know Maricela very much. I'm very much familiar with that villa. See, we may forget a few things as we grow up. I am a man of 70, I've forgotten many things. But I'll tell you, I will never forget the most beautiful woman. I've seen many women in my life. But the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life lived there. And I can never forget her. Let me see. What was her name? Laura. Laura Lorente. So this old man, Gonzalo, is again trying to bring his memories back, his memories of childhood. He says, I know very much, I know that villa very much for one reason, because I have met the most beautiful woman of my life there. And he tries to recollect her name and he gets the name Laura. And he did not get the second name, but later he remembers it. He says, yes, it is Laura Lorente. That's the name of the woman. So students, I think we can stop here and we will continue the discussion of the conversation between Gonzalo and Laura in the next class. Thank you.